Hello, this is Mark Sabatella from Outside Shore Music. In this video, I want to talk about the idea of polychords, and I'm going to use as an example the piece that I entered into MuseScore for my MuseScore Cafe recently. This is a piece by my former piano teacher, Elizabeth Austin. And first I'm just going to play the piece so you get an idea of the sound of this piece, and then I want to just talk briefly about how polychords form kind of the basis of the sound of this. So let's just listen to it. It's very short. So that is the piece, and there's a lot of chords. I mean, it's a dissonant piece, and you would say it's atonal, and yet there are chords involved. There's pretty clear chords. I mean, we can see in the piano, the left hand here, this what appears to be like a D7 chord. Over here, we can see what looks like a G chord, followed by what looks like an F chord. But what's sitting on top of that G chord is a different chord. So we have a D, F sharp, and B. Now this is a B minor chord sitting on top of a G major chord, and maybe that's not all that impressive as far as polychords go, because this is really a G major 7 rearranged. Let's take a look at the next chord. We have an F chord in the left hand, and the upper part is C, E flat, and A flat. Well, now this is a bit crunchier, to use the technical, not really technical, but the term that I often use to describe this kind of dissonance. It's an F chord and an A flat chord at the same time, and this we could also look at and say, well, this is really F7 with a sharp 9 added, spelt as A flat instead of G sharp. So this particular polychord does resemble another chord. If we look at the next measure, we get two notes here, which isn't a full chord, but it does sort of suggest maybe a G flat major triad. And in the right hand, we have basically a C augmented chord. Well, this is adding up to maybe not any one particular chord, but all these notes come from this whole tone scale. And yeah, it's a triad and an augmented triad here. The next chord we hear, again, it's not a full chord in the left hand, but it kind of resembles an E major triad. But what's in the right hand is a C minor triad. Now this is getting yet more dissonant. There's really no clear relationship between these chords at all. The next measure takes it a step further. G major triad, and then basically a G flat major triad, again spelt a bit differently, but here two triads a half step apart. So we see that many of the sonorities that we hear in this piece are essentially one triad in the right hand against a different triad in the left hand. Sometimes there's a clear relationship between the two. Sometimes they add up to form a particular scale, and sometimes it's really just a very dissonant combination of two chords that have nothing in common. And that idea of building a whole language, a piece, based on that combination of chords, different combinations of chords, this is a thing. This is what happens in this piece, Ursa Undulates by Elizabeth Austin, but it's also a sound that kind of permeates a lot of 20th and 21st century music, and it's definitely a sound that you can make use of anytime you see fit.